The book Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry by Mildred Taylor takes place during the 1930s and is a work of historical fiction. The story takes the reader on a journey that vividly describes the struggles of early African American culture and the adaptations that came from it. No one can deny that this time period was a tumultuous one for America, and in the struggle for civil rights and equality. However, some good came from it: the origin of soul food. The first printed cookbook for African American was published in 1866 by Melinda Russell. Soul food has been a part of African American culture for centuries. Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry has deep roots to its origin and living practice. The phrase soul food originated in the South during the Civil Rights Movement in the mid-1960s, when it was common to use soul to describe black culture. Traditional soul food is flavorful because of the heavy use of seasonings. Soul food can be traced back to Africa in the 1400s, when European explorers brought their food supplies to Africa. In the 1600s, slave ship cargoes brought crops from Africa to North America, and these foods became a part of African American cooking. Food often included okra, yams, sweet potatoes, collard greens, cabbage, squash, butter beans, black-eyed peas, and tomatoes. During slavery, it was not common for slaves to receive choice cuts of meat, and oftentimes they were left with parts their owners didn't find appetizing. This rich culture of people made the best with what they had and created delicacies from oxtails to intestines. The enslaved had to figure out ways to supplement their meager diets by fishing, foraging, and incorporating new knowledge shared by their European owners. After working, slave families would sit down at a table in their cabin to eat dinner and talk. They would supplement their food rations with foods from their gardens. The food source and preparation was a source of comfort and is now commonly known as comfort food.
Comfort food and soul food became synonymous, as most families would gather after church or revivals to share a meal. Eating food after church was food for the soul. The book describes one of these gatherings as the author writes, "Then it was a feast to remember, brimming bowls of turnip greens and black-eyed peas with ham hocks, thick slices of last winter's sugar-cured ham and strips of broiled ribs, crisply fried chicken, and morsels of golden squirrel and rabbit, flaky buttermilk biscuits, and crusty cornbread, fat slabs of sweet potato pie, and butter pound cakes, and so much more were all for the taking. No matter how low the pantry supplies, each family always managed to contribute something, and as the churchgoers made their rounds from table to table, hard times were forgotten, at least for the day. On Sundays, people came together to provide comfort, share food, and ingredients."
Ingredients and methods of cooking soul food vary from region to region depending on settler influence and ingredients special to a region. In the book Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry, this family gathers for Christmas to enjoy this soul food that African Americans still kept as tradition and remembrance, even though its ties originated from slavery. The book describes how food and family were a staple of tradition and safety. The book states, "By the dawn, the house smelled of Sunday, chicken frying, bacon sizzling, and smoked sausages baking. By evening, it reeked of Christmas. In the kitchen, sweet potato pies, egg custard pies, and rich butter pound cakes cooled. A gigantic coon, which Mr. Morrison, Uncle Hammer, and Stacy had secured in a night's hunt, baked in a sea of onions, garlic, and fat orange yellow yams, and a choice sugar-cured ham brought from the smokehouse awaited its turn in the oven." In the heart of the house, where we had gathered after supper, freshly cut branches of long-needled pines lay over the fireplace mantel adorned by winding vines of winter holly and bright red Christmas berries. To this day, food that used to be considered someone else's discards are now a Southern delicacy and can be found in restaurants across the country. A few local popular restaurants include Esther's Cajun Cafe and Soul Food, Alfreda's Cafeteria, Just Oxtail Soul Food, This is Soul Food, and Mickey's Soul Food Cafe. Which one will you go to tonight?